Anyone who doesn't think this is the very best music throughout recorded history should just jump off a bridge and die. Radio X. Better than real friends. Radio X.
Hey, welcome everybody. This is Tommy from WFKU, New York City's only rock radio station. And I mean literally the only rock radio station in New York City. So this is going to be my first show I'm going to be putting together. I'm going to try to pump out a show at least once a week. While I have the time when I'm off. I'm actually in my recording studio, which is actually my bedroom and a desk here in the Bronx. Looking over some new songs I'm putting up on the air. Getting everything together. So for the new holiday season that's coming around, I wanted to pump out a bunch of new modern rock songs and alternative songs. So I just want to say thank you, and I'm glad you guys are here to join me on this adventure that I'm calling a podcast. I'm currently sitting here drinking a coffee, smoking a blunt, looking out the window, looking down on my neighborhood in the Bronx. I'm not sure how many people out here are listening from New York City or from the Bronx, but if you live in or around Morris Park, it's pretty nice. There's people really give the Bronx a real shitty rap a lot of the times. You hear a lot on the news and you hear a lot on social media about how Bronx is the shittiest, but everybody knows that Staten Island is absolutely the worst, and there's no question about it, hands down. I mean, to be perfectly honest, I don't think I've ever been to Staten Island more than 5 times in my life. I don't think I've ever been to Staten Island other than to the mall and to the where the sailors and soldiers' homes were, and did a little exploring up there. But Bronx isn't all that bad. There's some bad sections of the Bronx, but that's every borough and every city. There's sections that are terrible, and there's sections that are alright. But, where I'm at here in this little studio that I call my home, I can't complain. I love it over here. We got a nice selection of bakeries, tons of pizza places and restaurants, and so on and so forth. Make it a nice community. We don't allow none of that craziness and garbage that goes on in Manhattan to happen over here. So it's a nice, safe community. The cultural melting pot, as you would say. Can't say as much as Queens, because definitely Queens is the culture melting pot of New York City. It's the borough of the people in Queens. I don't know if anybody listening, lives in Queens or has lived in Queens, but it's definitely great out there too. But this is going to be my first show. I know it's a little rambling on, but I'm just getting started. My goal and idea here, is to make a little hour show where we're going to talk about a couple different things, maybe have some callers eventually in the future, so we can have a little back and forth and, get a couple of different ideas rolling here and all kinds of different, subjects and topics, no matter if it's music or politics or community or around the world. I just definitely like to cultivate something, and then, blend it into that. It's going to be, some music in between, to keep everybody going, 2 or 3 songs in between for a little bit of a break. From hearing my voice all day, because I'm sure you don't want to hear it, but if you are tuned in and you are listening, I just want to say I really appreciate you being here. I really appreciate all the support that I've got over the last year. This is not an easy endeavor to, build a rock radio station, especially in a demographic where there is, really no market. I don't want to say no market, because it's not that there's no market. It's just that I feel like rock and roll has died. And I don't know if anybody can, have that sentiment with me. I feel over the last, I don't even know, maybe 10 years or so, 10, 12 years, rock has really obviously took a decline and took a back seat to, things like, the drill rapping and, all the new, I don't even know, to be honest with you, what you call the music today, because, I'm about to be 40 in 2 days, and I could finally say I'm at the age where you hear the music, or, you hear the dialogue, or whatever it is you want to call it, that, is in use today, and you're just like our parents and grandparents, you're like, oh, that music sucks, that artist sucks, like, all this sucks, but I guess that goes a generational thing. If everybody has an acquired taste. Everybody definitely has an acquired taste in music. It's not like it's one genre for every person. That's why there's millions and millions of different genres and all kinds of different sounds, because everybody has an acquired taste in music. And it makes me wonder, growing up, now that I'm going to be 40 on November 7th, growing up, obviously, in the 90s, music was a lot different. We had a lot of, it was really big on pop, 90s R&B, 90s rock and alternative. Obviously 90s rock and alternative making a huge, impression on a community and demographic of kids in the 90s, but also at the same time R&B, and 90s hip hop, because, growing up in New York City, we had a ton of hip hop artists, and obviously, East versus West, because you had Biggie, and you had, unfortunately, you had Diddy when he was called Puff Daddy, Nas, Slick Rick, Lost Boys, stuff like that here in the East Coast versus, especially Big. How can I forget Big? But also at the same time, you had the West Coast, you had Pac and NWA and, Ice-T and all that stuff like that. And it was definitely a cultural, differently sound. The sound was completely different. And it's just funny how we grow up and we acquire these tastes of so many different types of music. I mean, I personally, I don't even ever use the word audiophile. When I hear the word audiophile, which is obviously, by definition somebody who, is classically trained in music and stuff like that and likes a certain type of music. But when I hear the word audiophile, I hear the word dickhead. I hear the word asshole. I hear the word dick. Like somebody's like, I'm an audiophile, so I'm telling you why this is better. You can't do that. You can't tell somebody what they like and what they don't like, because it just doesn't work that way. Like, if I went around and I told everybody all the time, you can only like this because I like it and I'm an audiophile, then people would start saying to me, you're a fucking dick, bro. And that is what it is. You're a dick. Let people like what they like, because I, for one, have a very long, musical sheet that I like of all different types of, genres and all different types of music. I love everything from all the way from the 1930s and 40s, all the way to today's top 40. I don't discriminate. There's things I don't like, of course. There's things that everybody doesn't like when it comes to, music and things that you hear on the radio. Because I don't think, and I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, I'm sure there's a lot of it out there, but I don't think there's a lot of politically, correct music that, like there used to be, like Rage Against the Machine, and how Green Day kind of went south with the, the politics and stuff like that. I honestly don't think that it's that much anymore as it used to be, but like those kinds of things, like, it shouldn't be injected into music either way. Music's made to be enjoyed. Of course, there's messages in every music. Everybody has sentimental feelings about different types of music. I, for one, I get emotional when I put my headphones on sometimes. There's sometimes I literally catch myself with tears in my eyes and, excuse me, hearing specific songs. And even if it's like a song that's irrelevant to anything emotional, I think it's that moment, that you face when you heard that song, or that whatever you were going through when you heard that song, that makes you have that little emotional moment. I don't think it really is relevant to, what the lyrics are, what the message is trying to be, pervade through the song. But I also think that music is absolutely and definitely emotionally connected in the sense that you could hear a song, and the song's lyrics can have absolutely nothing to do with an emotional situation, but it's because you heard that song. It's because it connected with you emotionally in your brain that it'll forever stick with you, and you'll forever have a feeling anytime you hear that song that brings up a certain type of emotion. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but definitely for me, there's a handful of songs that do that for me. One of those songs, for examples, is, I listen to a lot of Nonpoint because I'm obviously a metalhead. Love, my first genre is metal and rock and 90s alternative. I listened to Miracle by Nonpoint, and I think about, when I heard that song when my mom passed away in 2021, and I think about hearing that song, and even though it's a metal song about pushing through, it still brings a tear to my eye every time I hear that song. And it's the strangest thing, because it's a metal song. But I would love to hear from you guys if there's something that you guys, get emotionally connected to, or a song that you guys feel, that brings up a lot of harsh emotions. Leave a comment. I would definitely love to hear from you guys, regarding that. So I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to leave you with 3 songs, and I'm going to come back. Feel free to make some requests, leave some comments for me, because this is my first, my first recording, and it's going to be my first show, so I know I'm rambling on a little bit, but as I get more organized, I'd love to hear from you guys. So definitely check us out on zeno.fm/WFKU, and listen to us live anytime. This is Tommy, WFKU, New York City's only rock radio.
X. You're listening to Radio X, the birthplace of modern rock
and fundamental social upheaval.
You don't feel the pain.
Too much is not enough. Nobody said this stuff makes any sense. We're hooked again. The point of no return. See how the buildings burn, light up the night. Such a pretty sight. Adrenaline keeps me in the game. Adrenaline, you don't even feel the pain. Wilder than your wildest dreams. When you're going to extremes, it takes adrenaline.
You don't feel the pain.
Sail through an empty night. It's only you and I who understand. There is no plan. Get closer to the thrill that only time can kill. It's in your eyes. It's so alive. Adrenaline keeps me in the game. Adrenaline, you don't even feel the pain. Wilder than your wildest dreams. When you're going to extremes, you taste adrenaline. Run through the speed of sound. Everything slows you down, and all colors that surround you all bleed into one. Only thing you really need, just a way to find the speed, and then you will achieve escape velocity. Too much is not enough. Nobody gave it up. I'm not the kind to lay down and die. Adrenaline keeps me in the game. Adrenaline, you don't even feel the pain. Wilder than your wildest dreams. When you're going to extremes, you taste adrenaline. Screaming out your name. Adrenaline, you don't even feel the pain. Wilder than your wildest dreams. When you're going to extremes, you taste adrenaline. You don't even feel the pain. You don't even feel the pain. 'Cause I'm going to extremes. There's nothing in between. Where I wanna be. You don't even feel the pain. You don't even feel the pain. I'm going to extremes. Always in the pain. come to this. Things have never been so swell. I have never felt so well. Talk about someone else standing so against a mouth. Nothing really bothers her. She just wants to love herself. I wouldn't move away from here. You wouldn't be afraid of fear. The thought was put into this. I always know to come like this. Things have never been so swell. I have never felt that well.
Better than real friends. Radio X.
Welcome back to WFKU, Radio X, New York City's only modern rock and alternative rock station in New York City, and I mean the only one. This is the second section that I have been recording earlier today, and a little bit earlier in the show, before the two songs, we talked about touching on 40th birthdays. I'm not too sure how many people out there that I know or are listening that are, approaching 40 or about to be 40, coming up in the next year or so, or the next couple months, weeks, days, whatever. I know, but personally, I am turning 40 on November 7th, and it's been really weighing heavily upon me, like crazy heavily upon me, and I say that because I never thought I was going to make it here. I never foresaw myself making it to 40 years old. I never, foresaw myself being, at this point in my life, stable enough to have a good job, have a good life here in New York City, actually make it here in New York City, and mostly to run this radio station, have the stability to have equipment and computers and a place to record and time to myself and my days off, and so on and so forth. I never saw myself, in any of these positions, especially, I guess, more or less including, seeing myself as an adult. I guess that's the hardest part, is what you come to grips with, when you're coming up to 40 and beyond, is actually, I think in a way it's facing mortality. You think about 40 and you think about what it took to get here, between the teenage years and the 20s and the 30s, and finding yourself, inventing and building yourself, and, putting a life together, having a job, career, kids, marriage, all that good stuff, car and bank account, savings, Bitcoin, whatever it is that you fancy, in terms of, categorizing, classifying yourself as an adult. And, everybody has their own lifestyle, their own way of living. I think we have a blueprint, in society that shows what we need to do to be a successful adult. But I think in that, in societal norms of, being an adult and purveying yourself in the public, as somebody mature and responsible, we also lose, that piece of ourself, I guess, that was a little bit wild, crazy, daring, exciting, spontaneous, things like that, like, making instantaneous choices. And of course, responsibility is a great thing. Responsibility is an awesome thing. You have kids, you have a mortgage, you have a car, you have dogs and cats and whatever the fuck else it is you have going on in your life. Responsibility is always a great thing, to maintain, especially when you have people who depend on you, wife, kids, mother, father, sick relatives, brothers, sisters, cousins, whatever your situation is, stepkids, you kind of make yourself, you mold yourself to that, and you say this is the way it's got to be. But that doesn't mean completely losing the person that you were, the fun person, the person who goes out and gets fucked up at the bar, or the person who goes out and, explores the city or the countryside, or the person who wants to have some kind of spontaneity in their life to do whatever they want whenever they want to. And I think when you're approaching 40 and you're past 40, that really goes out the window. And it's a societal norm to say, I'm older now, I'm more mature now, I don't do these things any longer, I put myself together, I'm making things better for myself and for, my situation, and my family. But at the same time, like, as you're approaching 40, you really look and say, in 40 more years, I'm going to be 80, or if I even am lucky enough to make it that far, I'm going to be dead before then. And it could be anything. It could be anything, any day, anywhere. Everybody knows that. It could be a fucking piece of a satellite falling out of the sky that hits you and kills you. It could be a random shooting on the street and you get caught in the crossfire. It could be anything. And it's like coming up to 40, I think that mortality, that sense of mortality is starting to be more aware. Or I and myself, and I can't speak for everybody, but I myself am starting to be more aware of that. I think about life before 35. Before I met my wife and stabilized, my living situation and got a better job. And I think about, those times living for 20 years as a wild man. From the age of 15, when I was released on my own, to getting my own room at 15 in my first job here in New York City. I think about all those times in between, all those wild, crazy things, good and bad. Everything from the great jobs to the great tips at jobs I worked at, all the way to sitting in the tombs and sitting in jail, sitting on Rikers, being arrested, and the good times, the bad times, the in-betweens, the stress from being homeless, the stress from being successful, it all boils, and it all boils up, and it all adds up in the end. And it's crazy. It sucks because it's like, as you get older, you start to think about these things. Obviously you have to slow down because there's limitations on your body now. Because a lot of us were very reckless, in the 90s and 2000s with our bodies and how we worked and what we did, for work to make money. And it really weighs heavily upon, our old bones now as we're progressing in age. One thing that's really scary to me is having to have a regular doctor now. I was one of those guys who I only went to an emergency room if I got hurt. I never, followed up my health with a regular doctor. I never, put my health first. I was always work, pay bills, and make sure I was getting by. And now that I'm more stable, my wife really put a lot of stability in my life, but now I'm more stable in my own life. And it's like, wow, I need a fucking primary care doctor because my body is fucked up and I want to live. And it's funny because you start to think about these things and you're like, why didn't I do this when, I was young? Why wasn't I more responsible with my life and what I'm giving in my body? And, like when you're approaching 40 now, for me, it's in 2 days from now. Today's November 5th. I will be 40 on November 7th. And I'm just like, I feel like the whole world's going to come to a standstill for some reason. Even obviously, realistically, it's not. But to me, that's what it feels like. It feels like I'm going to, like, the whole world's just going to stop at November 7th at midnight when I turn 40. I mean, and I got to stand there and I got to face mortality going forward. How much longer am I going to make it? What am I going to do as I get older to secure my future so I'm not living in some kind of shit nursing home here in the city? What am I going to do to, make sure that my life is put together so my wife and children are taken care of? And that's crazy, right? It's crazy to think about those things, and it's crazy to really look, past that spectral plane of your youth and look out there and be like, I am going to be somebody 40 and above going forward. I'm going to classify myself as an older person. It's crazy. It's crazy. You really look at that and you're like, wow, this is life going forward. And I'm not saying it's a bad thing. Obviously, it's something I can't stop, and I'm sure everybody else who's listening to this who's over 40 or is approaching over 40 has had these thoughts. And it's like, where do you go from here over 40? Obviously, keep paying bills, keep working, keep enjoying life, keep taking care of my family, and being a good husband and friend and community member, so on and so forth. But at the same time, it's like, is the excitement gone? Is that spark in my life? Is it gone? Am I ever going to have fun again? Am I ever going to be spontaneous and adventurous, ever again in my life? Can I ever make an instantaneous decision without somebody being upset or angry? Can I go on a trip by myself? Can I go out of the country by myself? I do all these things that I used to do before approaching 40? And that's the big question. It's like, how do you look at life as a mature adult? How do you look at life going forward and say to myself, I'm not going to be that person that I saw before. I'm not going to be the same person that I was when I was a kid. I'm going to mold myself differently. And I guess, it all boils down to making life choices. It all boils down to, putting your life together in a way where you're enjoying life. Because enjoying life doesn't mean millions of dollars. It doesn't mean consistently being on vacation. It doesn't mean, having the perfect life where everything's handed to you. Enjoying life just means I'm here and I'm doing the right thing and I'm putting my life together. And that's all that means. But anyway, I'll leave you with that thought, another rambling thought, because I still haven't put it together on paper, to actually make a point of conversation, but we will eventually get there. Appreciate you guys tuning in. Stay tuned for the next and last session that I'm going to have here, and we're going to conclude this hour. So enjoy the next few songs and leave a comment and let me know how we're doing. WFKU, New York City's alternative and rock, Radio X.
Nothing that you ever do will ever mean anything. We're the only identity you've got. Alternative Radio X.
Whiskey in the water, and there is death upon the vine. There is fear in the eyes of your father, and there is yours and there is mine. There is a desert veiled in pavement, and there's a city of 7 hills. Our debris flows to the ocean. To meet again, I hope it will. How could something so fair be so cruel when this black sun revolves around you? There is an answer and a question, and there is hope within despair, and there is beauty in a failure, and there are depths beyond compare. There is a roll of a lifetime, and there's There's a dumpster in the driveway of all the plans that came undone. How could something so fair be so cruel when this black sun revolves around you? How could something so fair be so cruel when this black sun revolves around you? There's whiskey in the water, and there's death upon the vine, and there is grace within forgiveness, but it's so hard for me to find. How could something so fair be so cruel when this black sun revolves around you? How could something so fair be so cruel when this black sun revolves around you?
Nothing that you ever do will ever mean anything. We're the only identity you've got. Alternative Radio X.
Welcome back to WFKU, New York City's only modern rock and alternative rock radio station. And I mean, in all of New York, there is no other rock station other than classic rock, which plays the same songs over and over and over and over again for years and years on end. And there's nothing wrong with that if you like classic rock. I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with that, but what I am saying is add a little bit of variety. Give us something a little bit better than just Smoke on the Water and Foghat and fucking Freebird. And I do love me some Freebird, don't get me wrong. I think Skinner was one of the best albums, or the best bands, that came out of the 70s because they revolutionized Southern rock, but at the same time, god damn it, give us some new songs that are classic we haven't heard, or deep cuts that we don't often hear, because it's kind of like taking a hammer to the head every time, Foghat comes on, a Slow Ride, or anything like that. That is kind of like a generic song that you've either heard in the movies a million times, or you've heard on the radio 100 billion times on some classic rock station somewhere. It's I take that back. It's not taking a hammer to the head. It's taking the hammer to the fucking teeth, right to my teeth. Because I'm just like, Jesus, there's 100 million songs out there, billions perhaps. And it could be in classic rock that there could be hundreds of millions of songs. Give us something different. I don't know about how you guys feel about, the same old song over and over again. But, when I hear it, automatically change the station. I feel like, and I don't quote me on this because I haven't pulled up the numbers because I'm just too lazy right now. My computer is only halfway assembled. But I feel like it's a plug, obviously, to make that band money, and it's also run by numbers. It's a numbers game, just like TV is a numbers game, for ratings and everything else like that. I'm sure radio has more strict numbers, seeing that the industry is not doing as well as it used to be. It's kind of like, I guess they poll an audience, and they say, how many times do you want to hear the same fucking song over and over again each day, and what kind of song and what genre and what station, and it's like, for example, you take the two hip-hop stations, the two major ones in New York, who shall remain unnamed because I don't want to be sued, but anybody from New York City knows there's two major hip-hop stations in the 97 band and the 105 band, and they play the same shit over and over and over and over again each day. I used to work as a dispatcher who dispatched walkers and bikers and drivers for Amazon in Midtown. And I would turn on one of the two major hip-hop stations in New York City to appease everybody in the morning, to get things moving faster, because everybody knows music is the great motivator in life. And it worked. It definitely worked. But at the top of the hour, it was like the CD would start over again with the same shit. The same pre-recorded bullshit DJ shit. The same songs over and over again, literally all day long on the top of the hour, and I don't understand that. I mean, I'm a man who enjoys variety. I enjoy variety in a way that if I'm listening to a station all day on the radio that's classic hip-hop, they're having throwbacks maybe all weekend long. Great, because now I'm going to hear all my favorite throwback songs, and a little bit of the new stuff, a little bit of the older stuff all mixed in, and, it's going to be a nice set. The same thing with a lot of 90s alternative stations nationwide. They have nothing but 90s weekends where they play thousands of 90s songs. B-sides and rare songs, mainstream songs and everything like that. But when you're a major radio station, here in New York City, you're FCC licensed to broadcast your shitty music is millions of dollars a year. You depend on viewership or listenership or whatever the fuck it's called. Why the same thing over again a million times? I don't understand. Where is the variety? Matter of fact, my question is, now that we're in this era where, there's not a lot of rock bands out there putting out music like it used to be, 10 to 15 years ago, where, there was, rock bands, alternative bands, new core, new metal, all that stuff, consistently putting out albums every couple of years. Where are we going from here in 2024, going into 2025? Where are we heading in terms of music? What are we going to see next? because now they have drill rap and mumble rap and everything is beat borrowers and the same shit over and over again. It kind of reminds me of the Spider-Man multiverse, because how many fucking times are they going to make Spider-Man into a movie and it's going to be shitty every time? But my thing is like, why no variety? I mean, that's just me. I know everybody's has a different ocean that floats their boat, and how much water's in it, I don't know. That's up to everybody to determine what actually floats their boat. But for me, like, staleness, repetitiveness, and something that's completely on repeat all day that you can guarantee you're going to hear if you... So say you work at a warehouse. The warehouse, for example, keeps the radio on in the background on an FM station, a popular FM top 40 station. All day, you can guarantee you're going to hear the same shit over and over and over again. And I don't understand that. It happens in TV too, because, I'm guilty of liking my corny shows like, Reba and How I Met Your Mother and stuff like that. And when you watch it on regular streaming TV or cable, it's like repeat the same season over and over and over again. I stopped watching Modern Family with my wife and kids because of that. It's every time we turned on Modern Family to watch it live on TV, it was the same season, same episodes, and it burnt me out. I was like, I can't watch this shit anymore because it's so, obviously, to that point, so predictable, it was meaningless. Well, I don't know. I'm just one for variety. I don't know how you guys feel about that kind of stuff. But when I think about classic rock stations, and obviously classic rock, being there's never going to be any new classic rock because it doesn't, make any sense. I would call some kind of paradox. But at least have some kind of fucking variety. Jesus Christ. Like, stop playing the same top 10 songs over and over again. You play Clapton, and you play Stairway to Heaven from Zeppelin and stuff like that. Find some B-sides from them. There's got to be something better. And when they do the B-side shows for any kind of classic rock or anything like that, classic hip-hop, it's always another mainstream song that has been played, but maybe not as much. And that doesn't really qualify to me as a B-side. I don't know about you guys, but, playing another mainstream song to say it's not mainstream does not qualify to me as a B-side song. It's something I never heard before. You know what? Because if you really think about when we were kids, and I'm talking about the people who are over 35, we had to go buy CDs for one fucking song and not knowing if the rest of the CD sucked dick. And most of the time it did. Most of the time, the songs on the CD sucked. You'd find another gem or two, but in the whole CD, absolutely not. The only CD, and I don't know if anybody knows who Nullset is, they're a new metal band that was out in the early 2000s. They're kind of like Reveille, kind of like Head PE. They had that kind of like rap metal kind of sound to them. They were great. That was the only station that the only CD that I ever listened to where I found at least 10 good songs out of 13 that were on the CD. The Ataris as well. I don't know if anybody's into the Ataris, but, I've listened to them over the years, and they have some great CDs, Yellow Card. But it's like then you have these top 40 songs that you can never get away from, as a band especially. I think that's kind of what pumps out one-hit wonders and makes you disappear. Is being a one-hit wonder in that kind of environment. I obviously want to be more versatile, have better music, and that's going to appeal to not only one group of people, but to a mass of people, and then have multitude of great songs on one album. But it's like, how do you accomplish that? But back to the original thing is, got to bring back variety to radio. Got to bring it back to music, and that's what I had launched this project for, because I noticed listening to a lot of the stations on the air, and while I'm traveling the country on FM radio, there was almost no variety. There's a couple of really good stations I can't really name because I don't want to get sued. Down in North Carolina, Pennsylvania, Virginia, that have great alternative and rock music. Then they have a great variety. But as far as here on the East Coast, there's nothing, that has a good variety, that's not commercialized, that's not just out there to make money. They're not here to please us in any kind of way, because, they are going to play music whether somebody listens or not. But I wish there was more variety, and that's why I'm here with this project. Trying to make it a little bit better now with some commentary and stuff like that. So, always please feel free to join the conversation in the comments, like, subscribe, share. Give me your good and your bad. Like I said, this is the first show, so I know it's not going to be that great. I'm sure people are like, I wish this guy would shut up because he keeps rambling on incoherently. But it's kind of just to break the ice and get something out there, so I hope you enjoyed it. If you have any ideas for the show or want to join the show in any way when I'm recording, we can figure it out. And I hope to hear from you guys. Song requests too, definitely. I have over 850 modern rock and alternative songs, and I'm always looking to add to that library to bring them to you live on the air. So make sure if you guys have a song request or you want to hear something or you want me to add something to the library, let me know in the comment section. So I hope to hear from you guys soon. Stay tuned. Probably later today I might make another show or into next week. But either way, stay tuned. Like, subscribe, share, comment here on the YouTube page. And stay tuned, and we'll be back with a better show. I hope you guys have a great weekend. If I don't talk to you before then, and I'll let you guys know when I'm broadcasting again. So this is Tommy, WFKU, New York's alternative and modern rock radio.
Anyone who doesn't think this is the very best music throughout recorded history should just jump off a bridge and die. Radio X.
Drove downtown in the rain, 9:30 on a Tuesday night, just to check out the late night record shop. Call it impulsive, call it compulsive, call it insane. But when I'm surrounded, I just can't stop. It's a matter of instinct, it's a matter of conditioning, a matter of fact. You can call me Pavlov's dog. Ring a bell and I'll salivate. How'd you like that? Dr. Landy, tell me you're not just a pedagogue. 'Cause right now I'm lying in bed, just like Brian Wilson did. Well, I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. So I'm lying here, just staring at the ceiling tiles, and I'm thinking about what I think about. Just listening and re-listening to Smiley Smile, and I'm wondering if this is some kind of creative drought, because I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Well, I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Whoa. And if you wanna find me, I'll be out in the sandbox, just wondering where the hell all the love is gone. Playing my guitar and building castles in the sun, whoa, 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 and singing fun, fun, fun. I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Well, I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Whoa. I was 300 pounds. No, I was very high. I floated till I couldn't see the ground. I floated till I couldn't see the ground. Oh, somebody help me. I couldn't see the ground. Somebody help me. Couldn't see the ground. Somebody help me. Because I'm lying in bed just like Brian Wilson did. Well,
Radio X.
Something's wrong, trying to conquer these fears I thought were gone. And it's been so long, I'm dying to live in a world I don't belong. I can't wait for someone to hear me and wait for someone to touch me and wait for ever to meet you. I'm forever alone. I can't wait for someone to feel me and wait for someone to hear me and wait for ever to meet you. I'm forever alone. On my own, I've shown myself what it means to be alone. And the tears I cried have washed away all the scars of my disguise. I can't wait for someone to hear me and wait for someone to touch me and wait for ever to meet you. I'm forever alone. I can't wait for someone to feel me and wait for someone to hear me and wait for ever to meet you. I'm forever alone. I'm forever alone. I'm forever alone. I'm forever alone. I'm not waiting here this time. I can't wait for someone to hear me and wait for someone to touch me and wait for ever to meet you. I'm forever alone. I can't wait for someone to feel me and wait for someone to hear me and wait for ever to meet you. I'm forever
X. You're listening to Radio X, the birthplace of modern rock.
and fundamental social upheaval.
just a scar somewhere down inside of me. Something I cannot repair, even though it will always be. I pretend it isn't there. I'm trapped in yesterday, where the pain is all I know, and I'll never break away. 'Cause when I'm alone, I'm lost in these memories, living behind my own illusion. Lost
that you ever do will ever mean anything. We're the only identity you've got. Alternative Radio X.